Good evening, everyone. Calling to order this evening's Borough Council work session meeting. Today is May 6th. It is our first Wednesday of the month meeting. So let's do a roll call to start us off.
Okay. Councilmember Chmielewski.
Present.
Councilmember Cerna.
Here.
Councilmember Bria.
Here.
Councilmember Elam.
Here.
Councilmember Fry.
Here.
Vice President Kingsley. Here. President Sokolowski.
Here.
And Mayor Aronson.
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, before we get started, just a couple announcements. The borough did receive one public comment regarding our redistricting map following our April 15th Borough Council meeting. But it looks like we've received no public comment leading up to this evening's meeting. Anything since we've had the notes? Okay. All right, so we will roll right into our presentations. So our first presentation this evening is a swearing in of a patrol officer for our police department. So I'll invite the mayor, Chief Lennon, and China Adorno to the podium to be sworn in.
I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
So as everyone's getting ready for their pictures, I do want to make a little announcement. Welcome, China. China is our first full-time female police officer in the Borough of Conshohocken. So we welcome you, and it's a very exciting
We're going to do pictures. So family, China, officers. Oh, we're all set.
Come on up.
Go ahead.
right in front here, so you can get the seal on the back of your picture, and you can make it official.
One, two, three.
Officer, stick, wait.
Oh, this is the fun part.
Whoa.
I love it when I make pictures. Right?
I can see it.
Push in.
One, two, three.
All right, and then we'll do one with council.
Couple more.
I want to make sure there's come prepared.
More council.
One, two, three. Adrian, could you just go a little to your left, please? Perfect. Sorry, I couldn't see Kathy. Or Kathleen. One, two, three. Okay.
You don't have yours on today. Okay, next item on the agenda, we have a proclamation this evening, and it is Proclamation 2026-05, and we are recognizing National Police Week. So Mayor Aronson and Chief Lennon, if you don't mind, please have the honor of reading our proclamation.
Okay, thank you, President Sokolowski. Whereas National Police Week in America was created to honor and recognize the sacrifice and contributions made by police officers in communities both large and small, and whereas National Police Week, held every May, was created in 1962 through a proclamation issued by then-President John F. Kennedy, and whereas our community will always appreciate and commend the risks police officers take every day to ensure our community's laws are properly enforced and that public safety is ensured, and whereas now more than ever, the community also appreciates and encourages the community involvement facilitated by our police officers to both better serve and instill mutual trust, camaraderie, and positive relationships among our increasingly diverse population in Conshohocken Borough. And whereas police engage with and serve the public in the most varied and wide-ranging manner, and their efforts do not go unnoticed, now therefore the Borough of Conshohocken does hereby proclaim the week of May 10 to 16, 2026 as National Police Week in Conshohocken Borough, and encourages all residents to join the borough in recognizing each and every one of our officers for their professionalism, commitment to duty, and sacrifices they make to protect the citizens of our community. Thank you. You want a picture?
Do you want to do one more picture?
Okay.
Come on up.
Come on.
Philly guys? Come on, Philly.
Come on, Philly. It's police. Come on. Come
You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta show them that you guys visit suburbs too.
Shame.
You can lay down across the front if you want.
Philly in the house.
All right, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Thank you for your service. Just let everybody kind of turn over here and we'll get back to business. Okay, before we move on to the next agenda item, I just need a motion from council to approve Proclamation 2026-05 that recognizes this week as National Police Week in the Borough of Conshohocken.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Next item on our agenda this evening is September 11th is National Memorial Trail Route Presentation. And Andrew Hamilton, if you are in the audience, we'll have you come to the podium to actually give us a presentation on the awareness for 911 National Memorial Trail Alliance and the sign.
Thank you very much for having me here tonight in Conshohocken. These are my roots. I grew up in Conshohocken many moons ago, longer than I want to admit. But anyway, the September 11 National Memorial Trail is a trail route that connects the 3 crash site memorials: New York City, Arlington, Virginia, Shanksville, Pennsylvania, with a route of remembrance that goes 1,500 miles and connects 31 different trail systems together. We're in the process of building some trails in different locations of Pennsylvania at this time. And for the 20th anniversary, which was almost just under 5 years ago, we got unanimous federal legislation accomplished for the trail route. Then it was signed into law in 2021. We worked in the 45th administration and the 46th administration in preparation for the 20th anniversary. And the route, it's about helping people remember. We're here tonight. In a minute, I'll talk about the signage project we're doing. It's about having the opportunity to reflect. People who are 25 years old don't know the impact that this had on many of us in the room. I personally did not lose a family member. I have friends who lost family members, and I felt it something to get involved with and an opportunity for America to build an American trail. We are in the process of, well, let me just kind of buzz through the route here for a second. We connect national parks together. We connect national corridors together. We're here on the Schuylkill River Trail. This map does not zoom in well enough to see that. But from Valley Forge, a place of resilience, to Independence Hall, a place of resilience, and et cetera, through the different states, 6 states, and Washington, D.C. So we've worked with every state, New York State, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and we are in the process of, and we can probably flip to the next slide, doing a signage project or the next slide, the one you had for the signage. If not, it doesn't matter. We're in the process of, for the 25th anniversary, and that's my mistake, I apologize. In the 25th anniversary, we're working with the state of Pennsylvania to sign 903 miles of the trail across the entire state, from the Maryland border to the New Jersey border. Yes, it is 903 miles. It is circuitous. But it also is on a more level plane rather than going over the ridges and the valleys of the Alleghenies, et cetera. So that's one of the reasons why it's so long. Here today for awareness building in Conshohocken, we're working with Montgomery County on the Schuylkill River Trail to sign in Conshohocken, just upstream, if you will, of the Fayette Street Bridge on the trail. So you'll see the signs going up. The signs will be, we're working with the county, we're working out the final details as we speak, probably done in the next 2 days. All these signs, all 903 miles of these signs, will be installed before the 25th anniversary, which is this September 11th. It's a joy to be in Conshohocken, to let the residents of Conshohocken know about this trail. It's been a work in progress for quite some time, as one might imagine. And you know, we have worked with every state government and federal partners over the past 23 years, really, by the time the whole system got organized. There you are. Thank you, Brittany. So we'll be putting up, we'll be having a few signs put up. A contractor will be doing it. The bids are going to be received early next month, and the work will progress very rapidly. I don't know when the signs will go up here on the Schuylkill River Trail, but they are compliant signs with the municipal, with the MUTCD. We did all that work, so they're in the state program and the federal program as well. So we can use these signs in every state that we traverse. I'll field any questions you may have. You have always a long evening. I don't want to take up much of your time.
The majority of your miles are in Pennsylvania then?
Yes, yeah. It's when we ran the numbers, it surprised me too. But Pennsylvania is a long state, and it's a lovely ride. Done it a few times across the state, and we do have some organized rides. One will be coming in, I think it's July. They'll be coming through here. They're doing the whole 1,500 miles. And we are most likely bringing our national meeting here this summer as well to Conshohocken to celebrate the signage going in, all the work in the associated communities, including Philadelphia, that's going to sign the project themselves. We don't have to hire a contractor for that one, which is wonderful. So, yeah.
Great. Very neat project.
Just wanted to say thank you. I appreciate the project. I remember being in high school at the time, and now looking back, knowing that like my 3-year-old son is never gonna fully understand that thing that we all went through. I think these sorts of projects are very helpful in reminding us. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Thank you very
much.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
your
much.
time.
Yeah, it's good to be home. So, have a good night.
All right. Next item on the agenda this evening is to speak about borough infrastructure. Tyler Williams is going to do a presentation on the 2027 through 2029 road program. So I know a lot of people are wondering, what are we doing with our roads? I think that this is the first step of presentation for folks to see what is planned. You're on, Tyler.
Thanks, Tina. Good evening, everyone. I'm Tyler Williams, and as Tina mentioned, I'm here to present a 3-year, $6 million road program for the Borough of Conshohocken. So during this presentation, I'll give a brief overview of the project. I'll talk a little bit about the selection methodology for picking the roadways, and then we'll kind of go through the yearly breakdown, 2027, 2028, and 2029. And then at the end, I can answer any questions you guys may have. So we were tasked by the borough to prepare a roadway and infrastructure improvement project that would be 3 years, $6 million to improve roadway conditions, update ADA curb ramps to current ADA standards, prioritize deteriorated roadways, and maximize the available funding. As you can see here, the plan for the 3 years is 17 roadways, approximately $6.5 million worth of road work. And I will note that these are estimated costs. Obviously, the actual bid cost could vary from that. So here's a map that shows the planned roadways and also the work that's been completed between the years of 2023 and 2026. So that is including the project that we have later on the agenda for tonight. So the roadways that you see in blue here are the roads that are either completed or will be completed by year's end of 2026. And then in the purple, orange, and green are the planned roadways for 2027, 2028, and 2029. As I mentioned before, that is 17 total roadways and approximately 110 curb ramp replacements. The prioritization methodology, there were two primary ways that we selected these roadways. One was a field review. I met with public works staff, we drove the borough, looked at problem areas, roadways that they've continually had to patch, areas where they have gutter pipes going under the roadway that creates an unsafe condition, or just existing drainage issues. After I had the field work done, kind of listed those ones out. Then I used this program that's called Violytics, and this is a pretty cool roadway evaluation tool that the borough's been using for a couple of years now that utilizes AI to give condition ratings for roadways. And I'll go into that a little bit here. So Violytics, what is it? It's an AI-based roadway evaluation tool. And the cool thing about this is that it just uses a normal smartphone. And so essentially, Public Works, as they're doing their day-to-day tasks, they can set up a mount in the truck, sweeper truck, the pickup truck, whatever, turn it on, and the software will take a photo every 10 feet. And so they can actually be evaluating roads as they're just going about their day-to-day business. Violytics is a pretty cool program. It does more than just roadway conditions. It can actually tabulate street signs. It will give a notification if there's like a branch in front of a stop sign and it's obstructed. It gives a notification in the program. Public Works can create a work order, send somebody out to fix the issue. And that's just on top of the roadway evaluation tools that it gives you. There's also treatment planning. There's a lot of cool things that you can do with this. So this is a pretty innovative technology that you guys have been utilizing for a few years now. This is just an example of what the interface looks like. This is the current condition of the borough roads. This was driven in 2026 by Public Works. On the left side of the bar chart, you can see there, that is roads that are rated 1. So that is, the best condition that it can possibly be. And as it moves to the right towards the red side, it goes up to 5, and those are the heavily deteriorated roadways. For this project, we evaluated all roads that were rated 4 or worse. So this map that we're showing here is just a filtered version of the previous map showing roads rated 4 or worse. There are 32 total roadways rated 4 or worse within the borough, and the total estimated cost of those infrastructure improvements is in excess of $10 million. Now we can get into a little bit breakdown of the year-by-year plan. So the 2027 roads will include East 6th Avenue, Harry Street, Wells Street, and East 2nd Avenue, and the total cost is estimated at about $2.1 million. All these total costs that you're seeing here are inclusive of construction and engineering. And I believe you guys have a little bit further of a breakdown in your packets that show individual costs for engineering by street. 2028 is planned for Forest Street, Hallowell Street, West 8th Avenue, East 5th Avenue, and East 11th Avenue. Approximate total cost $2.3 million. And finally, 2029, East 7th Avenue, Forest Street, Ash Street, Hallowell Street, Jones Street, Cherry Street, and East 10th Avenue. And this one is totaling just over $2 million. The estimated timeline for these projects, I'd like to keep it on sort of a strict timeline year by year so that we can go out and get the best bid pricing for you guys. The idea would be to have proposals prepared and approved in the month of May. For 2027, all the estimates have already been provided, so we are at that stage right now. The designs would go into effect in the months of May through the end of the year. And the idea would be that, in 2026, we're designing the roadways for 2027 so that we can go out to bid as early as possible in the new year. The reason for that is because when you go to bid early in the year, contractors are looking to fill up their schedule. The bid pricing is really competitive. The longer you wait, they just kind of throw numbers at stuff because they already have work, and you just get worse bid pricing. So the idea would be to get everything designed the year before so that we can go out to bid in January, we can be in construction in March, and be done in the summertime. And that's your overall map. So does anybody have any questions?
Anybody want to start? I will. So we're looking at the map, and these are the colors of the project that you just explained.
Yes. Here, let me go back to the other one so you can see the years.
When you look at the graph of the numbering system, worst to best, best to worst, what we were seeing was the majority of the 4 and above are all on the east side of Conshohocken, which is why we're focused on the east side of Conshohocken for the next 3-year project.
That is correct. The next, I think almost all of 2027 and most of 2028 is on the east side. The roads on the east side are just worse than the roads on the west side.
And then the 17 roads in this 3-year plan are 17 of the 34 that make up a $10 million cost.
Yes, 17 of the 32, I believe, yep.
Okay.
And we do have estimates for all 32 of those, so if there were to be, say a utility provider comes in, we need to go do work on 7th Avenue, I can easily go down, okay, what's the next road? It's the worst condition, I can slot that into that spot.
And then one of your slides demonstrated that we had 3 roads done in 2023 through 2026, correct?
Yes, that's the roads that you see in blue here.
And that total, if I'm not mistaken, was around $2 million then, ish? For grants and stuff?
I believe that's probably right, yeah. And that's with 1.2 million in grant funds from DCED.
So in total, over 6 years, from 2023 through 2029, we will have completed 20 roads in our road program at about $8.5 million to get those 20 roads completed.
Yep.
So we actively have a road program that we'll continue working on.
Yep.
And we will continue to look for grants and whatever funding sources we can get as we move along.
We have another application on your agenda this evening.
Okay. Anybody else?
Sure. You see 109 ADA ramps on the plan, which is a great thing that we're making these upgrades. I know that we also focus CDBG funding in that area. Are we looking at alignment between the 2 programs? Is this an opportunity to go secure additional CDBG funding? I mean, I know there's other constraints with that, but I just want to see, have we made that consideration?
The borough's CDBG funding is sort of an atypical situation, I think. It's not applied for, it's just appropriated, if I'm not mistaken. But I am working with Chris Stetler to make sure that, the areas that she is proposing for her CDBG programs doesn't overlap with what we're doing. And if CDBG has specific requirements for income, if it turns out that some of our roads are in that lower income range and we want to include those ramps in the CDBG program, we can always just remove them from our roads and save those dollars to spend elsewhere.
All right. Yeah, I know the blending of these things is tough, and the LMI numbers are tough probably here, but it's worth checking. Thank you.
Anyone else have any additional questions related to the roads?
So the total roads that you guys looked at, Tyler, with 4 worse were 32. So that leaves 15 that we're currently not looking at, which would be an approximate cost of about $4 million, correct?
Correct.
So what does that look like if we tackle those in 2030, 2031? What's the cost? Do we know what the cost differentials look like? Because I know you accounted for inflation over the next 3 years with your numbers. Where could that number sit between, it's at 4 million now, where could that sit in 2030?
I estimated about a 3% escalation per year.
Okay.
So whatever that math would work out to, I can't do it quickly in my head.
That's okay.
But
Okay.
it will likely cost more than just the difference between the 10.5 and the 6 million.
Right, okay, thank you.
And there's no value in doing everything
at once with a project like this, just out of curiosity. Just from a,
Economies of scale.
yeah, just from a scaling end, is that,
There is an economy of scale, but there are also other considerations like impact to the community. If we were to just rip up every intersection over a year period, that might have a greater impact to the community.
I was more thinking about if we're putting out a bid, if they're getting a large volume of work in one bid, would that potentially bring the numbers down relative to the cost increase and everything? Have we thought about that or looked at that?
It could. We have not really had those discussions. I mean, we can obviously we can discuss it.
I'm just curious. Yeah, I'm just curious if it's something that we're, again, it's a $4 million delta we're talking about. If there is the potential to look at it from a putting it all, kind of bundling it together and seeing if there is value in doing it sooner and maybe looking at that and debating it.
So something we do always talk about with Tyler when he's making these plans is coordination with utility companies.
Yeah.
So there are other roads that will be paved, that there could be work done, that are not on this map because we have relationship with our partners in the utilities, and they're going to be coming in and doing infrastructure work in certain areas of the borough. So those problem areas will be taken care of by another entity and not by us.
Sure.
So we also have to factor that in. So when we get documentation from PICO or we get documentation from Aqua where they're going to come in and they're going to potentially fix an entire water main that's underneath a roadway that's problematic and that's on Tyler's map, we're not including this in this particular program map because that work is going to be done and finalized by an entity that's not the borough, that won't be utilizing borough funds, that won't be tapping into the financing that you just took out. So we have to constantly evaluate not just what we want and what our needs are in terms of roads and infrastructure, but also what financing do you have available at your disposal in conjunction with everything else that's on your capital lists and your wish lists. And then also what work is going to be done by other entities that we can either tap into or that they need to complete because there are other issues underneath the roadway that need to be satisfied by an entity other than the borough.
Sorry, did you say we know what roads those are now, or we?
That was my question.
We don't know specifically what those roads are, but we know what they may be planning on doing.
Okay.
So they're not on that map because we don't have definitive answers on what they're doing. But
Gotcha.
there is a potential that there are other roads that will be done within the same time period by an entity that is not the borough and Tyler's team.
And if we were to secure grant funding, those would go as standalone projects.
Sure.
And another thing to consider would be like just the time for engineering. For us to design, I'm not sure exactly how many curb ramps are included in the 2027 plan, but it's probably a 6-month time frame from when we're going out to do the survey until we can actually get it to completion. So to design $6 million in road work, that may take a year and a half just to put the plans together to get it out on the street. So it almost makes sense to get some work going while we're able to work on the engineer for the next program so that we can kind of keep things rolling, if that makes sense.
And I'll just I'm going to jump ahead, but on your agenda, after Tyler has done his first 2 items, there is also a grant application for a portion of a project that is currently slated for 2029, but we're going to go for, I'm going to let Tyler do his thing, but it supports the notion of if we can get the grant funding and we can apply it to a specific roadway, we're not going to wait to do that project. We will do that project and then we can add in another roadway if needed. But that again, there's a grant cycle and there's other individuals and entities that are making those decisions on our behalf, and those processes take time. And so once we've secured that, then Tyler can go back and he can alter this based off of also how you are taking out your financing to satisfy these projects. And I always think it's important to remind everybody that we can go in, like the Hallowell Street project that was completed. We can go in, have a contractor complete the project. It can be a signed, sealed, and delivered project from the Borough of Conshohocken. And the next day, there can be an emergency with a gas meter where PICO has to come in, cut a hole in the brand-new street, and fix the emergency situation, and then they are required to patch that area. So yes, there is a patch. Is there anything we can do about that? No. That PICO emergency is in fact an emergency and it needs to get addressed. We might not even know about it until after it's complete, and then they come to us and give us notification of the work that was done. So the roadways may not all be one cohesive color and have that vision of what a complete roadway looks like the minute it's done. But it is, from an infrastructure perspective, an engineering perspective, a road that is complete in our road program. But those issues are going to happen.
When that does happen, do we, our engineers or our professionals, look at the job that PICO or Aqua did to ensure that it meets our specifications for roads?
The borough does have a road degradation ordinance and borough details. And so, you know, the contractors that come in are required to match your borough cross-section.
Any other questions? Great, thanks, Tyler.
You got through step one.
Yes.
Keep going.
Step two, Hallowell Street. This is a project that we received DCED MTF funds for. We applied for in 2025, received the grant, and we are now asking for authorization to go to bid with the project. I believe you've seen the concept plan and the cost estimates before. I think I was here presenting twice on this, but it's
Remind them of just the
Sure.
overall specifics.
So, get my papers straight here. So Hallowell Street Reconstruction, this one is from 7th Avenue to 11th Avenue, continuing where we left off 2 years ago. And it's total reconstruction of the intersections that need drainage improvements as far as grading, all new ADA compliant curb ramps. We're taking out sections of brick sidewalk that are non-compliant and are trip hazards, replacing that with concrete. And we are working through the design currently. Should be ready to go to bid by the end of this month.
And we've included 2 alternates to this bid, or will be including 2 alternates, correct?
Yes, there are 2 borough-owned alleys that will be included in the bid for this. We're breaking them out separately as alternates just so we can track costs for them. And they are approximate to the road. One of them's in between Harry and Hallowell, and the other one is on the east side of Hallowell, just past 11th, I believe.
And then during the preparation of the plans, there's some driveway aprons that are deficient. And so what's the plan in terms of handling that with the community?
Yeah, so I'm sure you guys have noticed certain driveway aprons, people have like installed steel plates to help, access if they're steep or if there are lips there. That is not allowed by borough code. The residents are required to maintain their curbs and sidewalks as it would affect the roads. So in working with the borough staff, I've prepared sort of a stock letter that would go out to residents that would sort of notify them, hey, your driveway apron is deficient. Here are the code sections that are requiring you to maintain this. And we would give them a time frame to either have those replaced on their, sort of at their own time, or we could work something out where the contractor that does the road work can do the work for them at the unit pricing that they've submitted for the job, and then the borough could, bill the resident for that cost. And this is only for areas where they have that deficient situation, sort of where they have like these steel plates that are blocking drainage flow and creating other issues for the roads. If there are aprons that are adjacent to curb ramps, we typically will just replace them on the project.
And what's the full cost of the estimated cost for the scope of the project?
$733,537, and that was the amount of our grant award. That was the estimated cost. That's with just a 10% on the engineering on that estimate. So it is slightly higher, the estimated cost, but who knows what the bid pricing could come in. It could be lower when we actually bid it.
Quick question on the driveway apron thing. If we're doing road work on, say, Hallowell, it's already there, one of those driveways falls within that project, is that being corrected with that project, or is there going to be additional cost to the homeowner themselves to?
Unless the driveway apron is touching like a borough-owned ramp, then the cost is the responsibility of the homeowner.
Okay.
So the notifications would go out in advance of the project going to construction. There would be a time frame that will be discussed with the borough staff and consultants that they would have to either repair that, they can go out and get their own contractor and have it done, or the submitted bid pricing for the contractor, we would just have them do the replacement.
How many are there, Tyler?
I don't know off the top of my head. I do have a list. I just don't know.
I'm thinking of one specifically that rests on the road. That would be, well, we could look at it. I was just curious about the actual project and then where their project ends and the homeowner's responsibility starts.
Did we include the cost of the alternates in the grant?
No, the alternates were just discussed a few months ago.
Okay. Do we think they would be, humor me for a second, if the bids come in under budget, would the alternates be allowable? Like, could we do a grant amendment to get them covered?
I don't know that we would specify how that money was spent when we were submitting the
Sure,
reimbursement.
construction.
So I don't want to say yes that they will be paid for under the grant, but if there are funds that would allow for it, I would submit it for reimbursement, yeah.
Understood.
Anyone else? All right, no more questions related to Hallowell Street. I am looking for a motion to authorize the advertisement of the bid for construction services for this Hallowell Street Reconstruction Project.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Oh, it's a Tyler night. Next item on our agenda is consider approving Resolution 2026-03, which will authorize the submission of the 2026 DCED MTF grant application for the Jones Street Reconstruction Project. So Tyler, give us some info.
Yes, so Jones Street, very similar to what we've been doing over the past 3 years, sort of a total reconstruction project, roadway rehabilitation, ADA ramp replacement, curb and sidewalk replacement where necessary. There is one intersection that has drainage concerns that will need to be fully regraded. But yeah, so we're kind of just continuing along with the road program. This, as Stephanie mentioned, this was included in the 2029 plan. So if we were to get awarded for this, then that would come off of the plan and one of the other roadways in need would get slotted into that place. And we've been very successful over the past 2 years, we've won awards and roughly like $1.2 million in state funds to do this stuff.
Any questions on Jones Street? All right. Hearing no questions, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2026-03, which will authorize the submission of the 2026 DCED MTF grant application for our Jones Street Reconstruction Project?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Exciting stuff. All right. Next item on our agenda this evening is under Land Use Matters, Public Hearings and Ordinances. We do have a public hearing on the redistricting map ordinance. So at this time, I will invite Sarah Steers and Aaron Nelson up to our table. And it will be open to the public. We'll open the public hearing for this redistricting ordinance.
Mr. Peters, before we officially begin, Ms. Checco provided us with a standard boilerplate procedure for how Conshohocken Borough likes to proceed with public hearings. So if Aaron or I deviate from what is normally how things are done here, we welcome the course correction. Thank you. No, thank you. Good evening, Council. We are here tonight to open the public hearing into what has been colloquially referred to as either the redistricting ordinance or the reapportionment ordinance. Would you like us to read the formal title of the ordinance into the record?
Yes, please.
Thank you. It is called an Ordinance of the Borough of Conshohocken, County of Montgomery, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, reapportioning the voting districts into districts with compact and contiguous territory as nearly equal in population as practicable, as finally and officially reported in the 2020 Federal Decennial Census. And good evening. As is obvious, I'm Sarah Steers. This is my colleague Aaron Nelson. We are from the law firm Curtin & Hefner. Curtin & Hefner was appointed special counsel to usher this redistricting process through. When it was tossed around that the borough had not looked at its ward map in 70 some odd years, it came to the borough's attention that the Municipal Reapportionment Act requires redistricting efforts based off of each decennial census for municipalities that are governed by ward-specific governance as opposed to at-large governance. The borough retained Curtin & Hefner to walk through this redistricting process, this remapping process, and also appointed a special task force called the Redistricting Task Force. Curtin & Hefner attended those redistricting task force meetings, which were held according to the Sunshine Act, and invited public comment as well as the members or residents, constituents of Conshohocken Borough to submit maps as well. The Redistricting Task Force also developed their own maps. In total, I believe 9 maps were developed, and the Redistricting Task Force reviewed them to ensure that each and every map was completed in conformity with both Commonwealth and federal requirements, as well as relevant case law governing how wards can be redistricted and requirements that are relevant to each map removement. Ultimately, they found that some maps did not conform with these requirements, and those maps were booted, but they found that a significant number of those did. And the Redistricting Task Force, as a recommending body, selected the 3 most appropriate maps to present to council, and did so, I believe, at your public meeting on April 1st. At April 15th, council then opened the floor to discussion on those 3 presented maps, and ultimately you voted to move forward with what is referred to as Map 2. And then we put together this ordinance, appropriately advertised it, and now have the ordinance available for you this evening, such that next steps can be taken post-enactment if you so choose to move in that direction. Curtin & Hefner would then work with the Montgomery County Election Board to finalize all documentation necessary to then submit it to the Montgomery County Court of Common Pleas. Assuming this sails through without any objection, which, given how detailed of a task this was and how well the task force reviewed its requirements. We expect it to be so. Common Pleas would then, sustain this map later on this year. And the Montgomery County Election Board would then work with Curtin and Hefner as well as the borough to finalize everything and have all the ward remeasurement and remapping completed in time for the May 2027 primary elections. I welcome any questions you have into the process. More than happy I was present at, Aaron and I were present at these task force meetings with Kathleen and Stacy. They can chime in as well as to how this moved forward if you need any further detail, but otherwise we can open the floor to public comment.
Council have any additional questions related to?
Yeah, this, I don't know if you'll know this one, Sarah. When will it be available for the public, say for people who want to know what their ward is, who are newly registered? I know it'll become effective for the primary, but when will people be able to look up? Will it go into effect January 1st? Am I making any sense at all?
No, you are making sense. I was looking up primary schedules earlier today, actually, and there are some February deadlines for individuals who seek to run as candidates in February of 2027. I would assume that this process would need to at least be initiated by that time frame, such that anyone, not necessarily Conshohocken Borough, but generally speaking across Montgomery County, given that that is the deadline, that this process with the County Election Board to prepare for May of 2027 would need to at least be initiated by that time, giving ample time frame for the borough to work with constituents and, re-sign things, label things, get mailers out if needed, post to the website, and provide a robust, explanation for constituents so that they are aware of the reward and where they need to go to vote.
Thank you.
So from a timing perspective, when I think about people getting ready to start running and doing their door knocking, folks would be looking at the proposed ward map to identify where they're actually running and what constituents that they would need to connect with, correct? Okay. Anyone else have any questions related to the ward map? Okay. Did we receive any public comment related to the posted ordinance? No feedback from anyone. Council, did you receive any feedback from any constituents about the actual ordinance? No? Okay.
And I would like to call for public comment at this time.
Okay. Do we have any public comment from the audience related to the ordinance? Hearing no public comment from the audience. Brittany, anything come through on email while we've been?
No.
Okay. All right. I believe that then would conclude our hearing.
Correct. If you are inclined to move forward, I believe we also supplied draft motion language for you to move forward with your voting process.
Okay. All right. So with that, what I am looking for is a motion to adopt Ordinance 01-2026, and that's reapportioning the voting districts in the Borough of Conshohocken into districts with compact and contiguous territory nearly as equal in population as practicable, and finally and officially reported in the 2020 federal decennial census.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much for this opportunity. It's been a pleasure to work with your borough, and Mr. Peters, they're really a gem. So thank you very much for this opportunity.
And I'd like to thank you both.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. We'll keep the borough abreast of all next steps as we move forward with the election board.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mr.
Ed.
Peters. Thank you.
Oh, we learned a lot in that process, for sure. All right, moving on the agenda, under council business, it looks like we have nothing this evening. So we'll move into our manager matters. And the first item is to discuss the Civil Service Commission certified eligibility list for the position of a career firefighter. So Steph, do you mind going through that process for career firefighter?
Of course. So as you'll recall, we finalized civil service procedures at the conclusion of 2025. We started the civil service hiring process, which includes a whole testing process, beginning of 2026. There was a written test on March 17th, an agility test on March 25th, an oral exam on March 31st. They're all required per the civil service regs. On April 28th, the Civil Service Commission met and they certified an eligibility list based off the testing results for the career firefighter position. This evening, we have in front of you the actual certified eligibility list that was certified by the Civil Service Commission. It does rank 3 finalists who made it through our testing process. We are asking council to review the certified eligibility list this evening, and then on May 20th, we will ask council to consider approving the certified eligibility list and the fire chief's recommendation for hiring, which from the eligibility list will be the highest ranked individual, Joe Valio.
So that will take us up to how many paid full-time firefighters?
We will have 4.
4 full-time paid firefighters.
Correct.
Do we have any part-time paid firefighters outside of the stipend?
We do. We have part-time firefighters who are borough employees. Fire stipend program is offered to our volunteer firefighters.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone have any questions related to our firefighters?
Were these the only 3, or just were these the top 3 out of?
We had a total of 9 applicants.
Okay.
Then there were a number of applicants that actually showed up for the written test. And then there was a number of applicants that passed the written test. Each stage of the testing process, you have to hit a certain grade in order to move on in the process. So these final 3 are those that made it through our testing process. And then those final 3 were then ranked based off of the average weight grade that's determined by the civil service regs.
Okay.
And a huge thank you to our fire chief, Tim Gunning, who went through the process for the first time and did a great job, and also our Civil Service Commission, who we've been keeping rather busy the last couple of months.
That's great. I think that sets us up for a good future, knowing that volunteers are few and far between. We're kind of lucky in our area to have so many volunteers.
We are very lucky in the Borough of Conshohocken to have such dedicated volunteers. Tim Gunning, our fire chief, gives an update on a monthly basis in terms of how many calls they run on a monthly basis and an annual basis, and the number is a very large number in terms of the services that they are providing to the borough, and a lot of that is taken care of through our volunteers, and we are able to supplement that during the hours that those volunteers aren't available because they're working their own jobs and helping with their own families. And so we have, thanks to council and the mayor, a very robust health and safety division in the Borough of Conshohocken.
All right, so no vote this evening. We'll review the list, the recommendation, and the vote will be at our next. Okay, great.
Meeting will be to approve the list and approve the hire.
Council, any other questions, concerns? Okay. Moving on to the next item under manager matters, it is to consider approving tuition reimbursement for Lieutenant Hall for the 2026 summer semester. So what I'll be looking for is a motion to approve tuition reimbursement for Lieutenant Hall for 2026 summer in the amount of $2,055 plus the cost of books, and that is per the collective bargaining agreement.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Next item on our agenda this evening is to consider authorizing the submission of a 902 recycling program grant for the purchase of a swap loader. Anyone need to know what a swap loader is?
I would love to know.
I'd love to know what a swap loader is.
I'm not going to explain that. Ray, would you mind explaining the swap loader?
It's a large truck that allows you to swap off the back of it, whether it can be a dumpster, it could be, we use it for dumpsters, we use it for salt, it has a salt spreader system on it, and it also is part of the leaf collection system, as a collection. So it does multiple things.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I'm looking for a motion to authorize the submission of a 902 recycling program grant in the amount of $160,935 for the purchase of a multi-use swap loader to the Department of Environmental Protection.
And I'm just going to, before we make that motion, so we got notification back from the DEP that based off of our application, they would allow us to apply up to $200,000. So we're going to take advantage of that extra $40,000 based off of the application itself. So just changing that motion to up to $200,000, which we got notification of this afternoon.
All right, so looking for the motion for this submission of the grant in the amount of $200,000, and that is to purchase the swap loader.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries.
And just to clarify for budget purposes, so if we submit that, we're going to submit for the grant now that you've authorized us to do so, the full cost of the swap loader with the necessary attachments is around the $320,000 mark. So if we were lucky enough to be granted the full $200,000, then the borough would be budgeting an additional $120,000 to make up the full cost of the item. But we'll get into that with budget and also if we are awarded the grant. Thank you.
When would we be hearing about that grant? Do you know? How does it normally?
The DEP, the 902 grants, they tend to take slightly longer in terms of notification of when it would be awarded. So if it will be applied for this year, this may be a situation where we don't receive any notification until 2027, in which case we'll budget for it potentially with the understanding that we may get it. And if not, then it'll roll into an applicable year.
All right. Any other questions? All right. We did the motion, right? Okay. Had a brain freeze a second. All right. It looks like there are no items under the department matters this evening, so we'll roll into legal matters. And first item for that is a discussion on a resolution that establishes temporary residential permit parking on the 200 and 300 blocks of East Elm Street, as well as overnight residential permit parking at 400 West Elm Street. So, Mr. Peters, do you mind reviewing the specs of that resolution?
Sure. So at your April 1st meeting, Chief Lennon walked through with you the process that the borough was going to go through with respect to analyzing residential permit parking. These two areas, the 200 and 300 blocks of East Elm Street, and then the vicinity of the development of 400 West Elm, were analyzed. Consistent parking shortages of greater than 75 to 85% were identified in those areas. So the next step is to undergo an analysis for a period of 90 days of putting in place residential permit parking in those areas. So the 200 and 300 blocks of East Elm would be on both the north and south side of the street. There'd be a 2-hour limit for non-permit holders. And then when you all approve the development, Madison West Elm at 400 West Elm Street, there is a parking agreement for public parking there for trail access, but we also included within that a provision, and one of you up there had this idea, I don't remember who it was at this point, but a provision in there for overnight parking if it turned out that there was a parking issue there. So right now, that public parking ends at sunset. That's the way we set it up. And then this permit parking would be in place then from sunset to sunrise, and there are 20 spaces down there. So as you've done before, with these analyses, it would be in place for 90 days, and then you'd reevaluate at 90 days and decide whether you want to continue evaluating or make it permanent. I do not believe there is a vote this evening. It's just informational, and then you'll take a vote at your next meeting.
Any questions related to the resolution?
Can we discuss the process? So, say we decide next meeting, we vote this resolution for temporary 90-day. What do the neighbors do to get the permits, to get what they need to get?
If you do approve this temporary ordinance, our parking software has some products in place that will be able to, we will hand deliver a letter to each one of those residents that are eligible for that parking permit. We will then establish a time where they are able to apply for the parking permit. They'll have requirements to apply for that parking permit. The application period will close. We will then issue parking permits to the first 20 people that meet those requirements.
Okay. I can't let you walk away that fast. Because I'm going to get these questions. So Steph has been great. We've been working on this for a while, at least at 400 West Elm. There are going to be some very, very happy neighbors down there once we get this moving. If it goes from being a temporary 90-day to a full, do they keep the same permits, or do people have to reapply because it's changed?
So by ordinance, those permits will be good for 1 year, and then they'll have to reapply at the end of that permit period. So every year, each of those residents will have to reapply.
Do we know a cost for the permit? Has anyone figured that out yet?
There will be no, no, there is a cost. It is in the ordinance. It's very minimal.
Okay. So more like an administrative or process?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Processing.
Okay. And if somebody could double check, I did not count 20 spaces in that parking lot.
They're not all exactly
In that
in the
rectangle?
same space.
Okay.
There, 2 or 3 of them are spread out.
Okay.
But we have accounted for where those 20 spots will be.
So you know that there's 20?
We do, and
Okay.
we have signage for each one of those spots so that they are clearly defined and that we'll be able to enforce.
Okay, awesome.
You'll be able to what?
Enforce the ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Oh. I didn't hear it. Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
This might be my question. Could you just elaborate a little bit more on the sunset to sunrise? It sounds like that was part of the development with Madison West Elm, but
Yeah,
I admit I was scratching my head.
I mean, that's literally what it says, is sunset to sunrise. The point was that it was supposed to be available when folks were using the trail, and the request of the property owner, which I understand, is that folks not have access to that parking nor use the trail after dusk. So that's why it's set up that
Yeah,
you
whatever
drive
the
into
inverse
some-
is.
It's definitely, you're right, you would expect to see hours, right?
Yeah.
But that is how our parking agreement was set up with them. It was a specific request. And so the residential permit parking just matches that easement document.
Understood.
I mean, I'm guessing, right, the trail hours are probably daylight hours, right? So that's
I
where we're
think that's
inheriting it
almost
from.
certainly true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And not that everyone needs to hear it, but I encourage everyone to vote for this resolution. I know we're going to vote next meeting, but the neighbors down there, 400 West Elm, are going to be very, very happy. So there's a large contingent of them that have struggled coming home from work and finding parking. So,
Great. Thank you for being an advocate. All right. Anyone else? Moving right along, we will move into our council member and mayor matters. So, Mr. Mayor, what do you have for us this evening?
All right, thank you. I believe the first thing is our EAC cleanup on Saturday, which it was kind of interesting. This year, we had some waves as the running club finished up. We saw some of their members come a little later. But we've been doing this for 8 years maybe now. It's been a while. And in the fall and the spring, east side, west side. So I'm always so happy to see the EAC continue this awesome event. People I know there's not a ton of trash to clean up on our borough roads, but I think just being out there in the community is always something that's very popular. So thank you to the EAC for keeping it going, and certainly for having donuts for Thomas. That was a big hit. Yoga Home had their outdoor yoga kickoff at Weston, Maine last Friday. And I think there was 100 people there. It was absolutely packed. And moving forward, they're going to have on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. yoga at Marywood Park, and at 9 a.m. Saturdays at Sutcliffe Park. And that starts a little later in May. So keep an eye out for those openings. If you have a membership with Yoga Home, it's included in your package. Otherwise, it's $10. We had drug take-back right here at the police department. So Thomas had a blast getting rid of some of his old medications and hanging out with our officers. So thank you to our police department for having these. I think it's about every 6 months we run these. And then finally, we have Coffee with a Cop. It's in Plymouth at the Metroplex. We were asked by the Plymouth Police Department to join. So we will be there next Wednesday at 10 a.m. This is not instead of any of our events. It's an addition. So we are very happy to partner with them. I'm on summer break, so I will be there maybe with a baby or two. But it's always fun to have the community interact with us. So thank you to our PD for participating. And finally, the Kaboom Kid is up and running for this year. This is the opportunity to hit the button to set off the fireworks on July 3rd. This will benefit the Friends of Conshohocken Parks and all the great things that they do throughout the year. They have a sponsor this year. They are much more organized than last year. And they're very excited to participate for year 2. So this will be open until, I think it's June 13th, something like that. It's on the poster, I just can't read it. But the QR code's up there. They have posted about it. I will post about it. Was that right? 15th, okay, 2 days off. It should be a lot of fun. We had a really great time doing this last year. So thanks to them for continuing, and to our borough staff for guiding them along in the process. And that's it for me tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Rob?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a thank you. We were talking about the volunteers for firefighters. My daughter and her Girl Scout troop got to go visit the Conshohocken fire stations, and volunteers were nice enough to take them on a tour. They loved it and said it was awesome. They had a great time, and part of that was they had some leftover Girl Scout cookies, and they were delivered to our fire department, police department and public works. They're allowed to give them to hometown heroes. So she got to go around and deliver them to everyone there. But a big thank you for them because it was on a Sunday. So the volunteers came out and gave the kids a great experience. And thank you to the administration for setting it up through the Girl Scouts. It was great.
Stacy, anything tonight?
I have nothing tonight, thank you.
Kathleen?
Nothing, thank you.
Adrian?
Yes, this weekend, the Conshohocken EAC, as well as with help from the Friends of Conshohocken Parks and the Colonial Canopy Project, are going to be replanting the rain garden here in front of Borough Hall at 1 p.m. So that's Saturday, May 9th at 1 p.m. here in front of Borough Hall. If you'd like to get your hands a little dirty and help replant the native plant rain garden, please join us.
Thank you. Ellen?
Nothing from me, thank you.
And nothing for me this evening. Do we have any public comment this evening? Hearing no public comment?
So I received a couple of emails I just wanted to
Oh, perfect.
touch base on real quick. I've had a couple of residents reach out about, the code department's been around checking the sidewalks, and they just wanted to kind of get some clarification on how that came about and then what the process was for them to determine that sidewalks had to be replaced.
Do you want to come to a microphone?
The question is how it came about.
Because all of a sudden, everyone was, curious as to why they were checking the
Well, the
sidewalks.
code department does it on a normal basis. At this point, what they've discovered is that there's a huge amount, and they've gotten behind on it. So they've taken an initiative to point those out.
Okay.
They will obviously work with the residents in order to get those things accomplished, but it causes two problems. The borough's kind of touting this walkability notion when we have sidewalks that are, some are 4-6 inches out from one to the other. It becomes a problem. It's also an insurance problem for the homeowner. If the homeowner doesn't address it, the assumption is a lot of times that these sidewalks are not owned by the homeowners, that they're owned by the Borough of Conshohocken. Well, this process will clarify that, number one, and the process has to move in some respect quicker than it's moved in the past. Addressing these on a case-by-case basis, we've done that. When I was in charge of the code department, we did it on based on sales, which are about 2% in the Borough of Conshohocken of properties. We do it on their UNO, and on the rental ordinance, which is about, let's say, 40 to 50% of our properties. We do it every 2 years. So they were being addressed at that point. That is now, a majority of those have been addressed. So the ones that haven't are the ones that you're hearing about.
Okay. Is there a specific, if you don't mind emailing me a specific place, so I had a resident specifically say they didn't think it was a tripping hazard, or they didn't think it was that big of a lip. Like I've seen them 3-4 inches difference, and I've also seen very small cracks. Is it any deficiency within the sidewalk?
So they are making allowances for some. Cracks are not what we're talking about. It's the elevation from one slab generally to the other.
Okay.
A lot of trees are causing that issue.
Yep.
Which then brings us to another problem, because the trees not only cause the issue for the sidewalk, they cause the issue for the curb, they cause the issue for the street.
Correct.
So, in general, these are problems that are being addressed all at the same time. And by addressing all these problems all at the same time, I know it's going to cause you all some headaches, but if we don't address these, we're going to start seeing the results of what can happen if they're not addressed. I've personally witnessed a person go over a curb, or I'm sorry, over a sidewalk, pushing a baby carriage, and she fell into the street with a baby. The elevations here we're talking are
Okay.
we're talking if somebody has an elevation, and I'm sure that's what you're referring to, of an inch out or something, those are going to be addressed, and not in the same manner.
Okay.
But from the other aspect, the insurance company might say, if someone trips over their sidewalk, that's a trip.
Right. Okay.
So that's where we are with it. It's not something that just all of a sudden happened. They've been doing it for a while. It has not been adhered to in a lot of cases. Don't forget we had the COVID period. Don't forget that we didn't have a fully staffed L&I department. Now we do.
Right.
So it's time to address it.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay?
Great, thank you.
Just a question, do you think the weather from this year, the amount of precipitation has also increased the sidewalk shifting?
It may have, and that's why, so we do see in the Borough of Conshohocken, where that happens not only in the streets, or not only on the sidewalks, it actually happens to some of our roadways, where our roads actually lift slightly when we have a bad winter. This has been the worst winter in probably 10 years. But what does happen in the warmer months is those tend to match up, and we don't have an issue. That's going to happen that same thing's going to happen in the sidewalks. So there are some that they started to address that by the time it's all said and done, it won't be an issue. In general, I will say, speaking to our director, he has made it a point to start with some of the larger gaps and the problematic ones and the areas that walkability is very important along the Fayette Street corridor or down at the lower end of town along Elm Street, where we're not forcing people to not use the sidewalk and have to walk out in the street because of the conditions of the sidewalk. And we do have that. It's unfortunate in some cases that either the residents or the landlords have not addressed these in years, but it's a work in progress. It's not going to take, we're not looking to do this over a 3-month period. It will take a substantial period of time. Ultimately, the ones that weren't addressed under the rental ordinance or aren't addressed in that 2% turnaround that we have every year in sales will get addressed, and that's the goal.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. My second question came from a resident for Chief Lennon, which is about the evenings at Sutcliffe Park. I know there was a couple of nights where there were some teenagers that were causing some problems, and I wanted to kind of see what the police department's done and kind of get an update from you on that.
Yeah, I did receive some emails from some Conshohocken baseball and softball parents that had been in the park. There was one particular incident where a juvenile bought a toy gun to the park, which was painted to look like a real gun. Previous to that, there were incidents that we had dealt with that were not particularly emailed to us about, but we had made some arrests and spoke to some parents about some issues. Every spring when the weather gets better, kids want to go to the park, and when kids go to the park, they sometimes cause problems. So in order to deal with those issues that were addressed to me from these parents and issues that we also encountered while patrolling the park, we have a detail now where we have an officer from 4 to 8 who is here detailed to the park specifically to deal with those issues. And we'll continue to do that until these issues are resolved or we have no more problems.
Great, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Brittany, anything come in while we were talking? No. All right. Hearing no other public comment, I will call the meeting adjourned, actually.